Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the Friday Night Chop Session with Stormybman for this Friday, July 30th, 2021, and this is episode 118. We are calling this one of mice, not men, in boxing. Welcome everybody out there. We're back again for a Friday night chop session. And it seems like these days, I've said it before, they're rolling around faster and faster. Man, I want to pump the brakes. What is going on? It's like time is moving a little bit too fast for your boy. Because I'm going to tell you, some of you guys out there enjoying this, where someone seems to have been speeding up the clock, but I'm a little more apprehensive. I say slow it down. But if you know the season of which we are living and existing, you know why these things are as they are. The days will be cut short. Yes, that's what it says. But welcome everybody out there, man. Of mice, not men in boxing. Well, what does that mean, Stormy? Well, we've seen lately a great deal of things taking place in the sport, and we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight, and a great deal of things that should be taking place that are not taking place in the sport of boxing. So thus the title, Mice Not Men. Men step up and make and take on challenges. Mice flee. You understand? So therefore, that's what the title is. And salute to Xavier, the boxing nerd out there, who may happen to also be a bookworm, because he knows that that title actually stands for something else as well. So salute to you out there, Xavier. I want to say salute to everybody that has joined us. And look at here, we already got 3 thumbs down, and I ain't been talking but 3 minutes. That's amazing. A thumbs down per minute. Well, what are you doing here if you don't want to hear what Stormy got to say? You can be gone, and we won't miss you. Let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you. You understand? Get on out of here. Salute to Tone Brown out there. He says salute. Demetrius Bright is out there as well. Says salute family. Jamil Allen, a.k.a. Jellybean, 4280 says salute OG, and salute to you as well. D. McGee is out there. He says salute family, and Alvin Davis is out as well. So salute to you, Alvin Davis. And yeah, it's amazing that someone who would come by and decide to show displeasure. But I tell you, man, this is not a whorehouse, so you shouldn't be coming here for pleasure like that anyway. But you can go back around to the alley, and there's plenty out there for you where you belong and where you eat from. So that being said, for those who have smashed the like button and come in, welcome. We're going to do our thing one way or another. And just to let you know that there are people who can't comment in here. You understand? And there's a reason for that, because Stormy don't put up with the foolishness that people like to bring and spread out here. And so they can't do anything but sit outside the doors and peep through the window and, you know, toss a thumb down. But as you see, there's already a few more than that have put the thumbs up. And we're going to get there where we want to be. You know what I mean? With or without them. Curtis Price has joined us, says, we are living in the last days. Jesus is coming soon. Repent, repent. Listen, man, there are a lot of people who have no sense of equilibrium when it comes to faith and spirit. And man is a living soul. So when your natural instincts tell you something is wrong, believe you me that that comes from a source greater than any man can conjure in his mind. I'll say that and leave it at that. Peace. Simon Bridgman, channel member, is out there. He says, salute Stormy B, man. Salute to you. Glad to see another channel member has joined up. That's my man, Simon Bridgman. And young Merv the Cut Man is out there, says, salute Stormy, brother. Hey, man, salute to you, young Merv. I know you don't come around often, but it's always a pleasure to see you when you are out there, man. We really appreciate you coming by and hoping that you will enjoy this evening's offerings. Reese Bro is out there, says, salute Stormy B, man, the wrenches and the chat. And he's giving all these announcements and exclamations and everything. So he wants y'all to see him. So greet my brother Reese Bro out there as well. So yeah, want to remind everyone that as we get going here, we've made some changes to the channel, and you'll see them from time to time, especially when I'm doing the solo shows. Not so much when we're doing the collabs, but for my special shows like the Friday night chop session and definitely the Tuesday tussle, you'll see Stormy break out with his advertisement for merchandise. Now listen, I ain't shaking nobody down, okay? So just let's get that clear. But if you want to find yourself looking kind of snappy, why don't you go on over to the link there that's in the description box, and just like the one running across the screen there, and you can get yourself some Stormy B-Man merchandise. And we got plenty out there for you. You know what I'm saying? For those who like a little bit of head attire, we got the snap cap, okay? And it comes in an assortment of colors there, just for the man who likes to keep something on top of his dome. You know what I mean? And also, for those who are on the go and on the move, we got the Stormy B-Man backpacks, and it comes in a couple of different colors. It's got the Stormy B-Man emblem on there. I'm telling you, man, this merchandise is good. This one made up by the company called Champion, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with that, even though you may not endorse the product, but it's a name brand company. Also by Champion is the Stormy B-Man Windbreaker packable jacket there. That one there comes also in an assortment of colors. And let me tell you something. I have the gold one, but I decided to put the black one up on the screen so you can see what it looks like in a dark color. And these are pretty nice as well. We have an assortment of sizes. You just go get you one. You know what I'm saying? It's all you got to do is just stop on over there, check out the merchandise. And just like what I'm sporting this evening, and like I do on most of the shows, because my basement is kind of cold where I'm broadcasting from, it's like, listen here, man, it's the Stormy B-Man hoodie, which is nice. I've added an assortment of colors to this one as well. So for those that just don't want to be rocking the black, go on over there. You could catch yourself something over there, and in an assortment of colors, you can find that hoodie. And then lastly, but not least, we got the tee. Okay, Stormy B-Man tee, rocking that bad boy there. Also in an assortment of colors. We got some lighter colors on there now, and soon when I get a chance, I'll have something for the ladies. I actually had something for the ladies already, but when I ran into some difficulties with my my account and how things switched over from one account to another, I have to wait a duration before I make the ladies tees available. They're nice long sleeve V-neck almost cut. It's a nice shirt for the ladies. But in the meantime, get you one of these. Like I said, they come in some lighter colors as well, and you'll look nice and spiffy when you go out there on a sunny day rocking a Stormy B-Man tee. You know what I mean? So don't forget, you can stop by there and get yourself something over there. And listen, get them while they're hot, because they are moving, believe it or not. They are moving, and people are happy to get some of the products from Stormy B-Man. Also a reminder to you all that I am still an official ambassador for the Black Gentleman Grooming Company. And for the Black Gentleman Grooming Company, we have Junior the Truth, who started this off, And let me tell you something. I had several products from them. I'm very happy with them. If you enter the code that's in the description box as well for the link that is supplied by Black Gentleman Grooming Company and enter the code StormyBman, you can get 10% off of your purchase. So don't forget to do that. I'm telling you, they got hair and skin oils. They have beard oil. They have lotions. They have deodorants. They have pomade kind of colognes. Very nice, subtle, fresh scented items, handcrafted and easy on the skin. Let me tell you, it's very nice. Go over there, get you some of that, and you won't be disappointed. And don't forget to mention StormyBman so you could get your discount on that. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we do. We support one another as a community out here. And that's how we grow, and that's how we stay connected, right? And lastly, I've been saying this, and it seems like nobody listens. Nobody listens. That's why some of y'all barely passed grades in school, and some of y'all failed in school, just like you're failing in life, and you're failing at this very moment because you don't listen. But I'm going to say it again. If you were to leave a comment either on a video, live stream, in the comment section, don't forget to type in also enter to win, where it will allow you to win your copy of Drunken Master, Jackie Chan's hit film from 1978 on Blu-ray, remastered by Eureka Masters of Cinema. This is a great Blu-ray. I have it in my collection. This is a free giveaway, and the 50th person to type in enter to win in the comment section, not the live chat, Rashid Rourke, okay, but in the comment section after any production, whether it's a video, whether it's a live stream, you leave your comment, and then at the end of your comment, you write enter to win, so you will be counted toward the 50th person. And that person will win this for free. All you have to do after that, we get the information and we ship it to you, and boom, you win the first prize giveaway from StormyBman's channel. And we will have others. It won't always be a movie, okay? It will be other things, but this is the first. So, you know how people like to be first in life? Do you want to be first, or you want to bring up the rear? You know what's at the rear? A lot of moss and dirt and rocks and gravel and stuff people stepped on and everything. Don't bring up the rear. Be first. Get you one of these, and it's free. Free, free, free. You know what I'm saying? Don't y'all like free stuff, man? Man, I have to tell you guys all the time how to do this, and you still don't cooperate. But such is life. So we got a couple more people in there. Xavier says, life goes by faster when too much routine is in one's life. Interesting perspective there, Mr. Nerd, boxing nerd. Eric R is out there, says, salute at StormyBman and smash the like button. Thank you so much for that, Eric R. We really appreciate you. We expect my man Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens to join us in a little bit. He has to get himself situated, but we will resume with other conversation pieces that we'll have for you for tonight. But I want to ask you guys that are in the chat right now. I didn't have enough time to look into this myself, but please tell me if anyone can. Today was my wife's birthday, by the way, so I was celebrating with her and doing some things, and I kind of cut it close to the start of the show. So I only heard, but I can't validate. But maybe someone here can. I heard that the proposed fight between Terrence Bud Crawford and Showtime Sean Porter is now no longer a go. The fight is not happening. If you guys can verify that for Stormy, I would appreciate that. You can write in the chat, if it takes several comments, please do so just to bring me up to speed this evening, because this falls right in line with what I was saying about the title of tonight's show. It is Of Mice and Men in Boxing. Now, somebody, if that is true, somebody don't want to go through with this. Now, I can blame it on one guy or the other, or I could blame it on both. Because let me tell you something, man. This is the thing. And salute to you brothers out there wishing my spouse a happy birthday. I appreciate that. Much respect to you brothers for that. Much respect. Thank you so much. And I will pass those sentiments on. But listen, man. If this fight is not happening, it falls right in line with tonight's show. Because earlier in the week, we had some news about Mr. Canelo Alvarez and his proposed bout against Caleb Plant. Now, I don't know how true this is, but if someone can verify that, I would appreciate it, because I need to know what the going story is, and I can draw my own conclusions. Because, listen, man, when they tell you what they want you to know, they done already put together lies and, rivers and back doors to sail on and escape hatches and everything to keep you guessing. But all you got to know is this. These guys of today don't believe in getting it on, man. They don't. They are not made of the cloth of guys from days gone by, where they would get in there and it wouldn't take much, but they would get in there and they would challenge one another and make hay in the sport of boxing. These guys of today, man, I don't know what to say about them. I really don't. And it's disconcerting, because when you see that the fighters who are supposed to be of that ilk, championship caliber guys, and they can't seem to get it on, it really pulls the sport down into a bad area. And, last week's show, Reggie and I talked about the judges who do their part each and every chance they get to help mire the sport in mediocrity and the terrible stickiness of the mud. And they do it as much as they can. They keep the fans off balance. They keep the fighters off balance. They unjustly govern the sport from that point of which their pen makes decisions. It's bad enough that some of the guys don't work as hard and diligent as they need to in the gym to bring their skill level up to a certain point. But it's even worse when these guys don't even want to try and match one another's wares of today. But they get in front of a TV camera or a social media camera or mic, and they think that they know better than anybody else. And I'm going to tell you something. You can be a fool if you want to, but you're the one getting punched in the head for a living, And you need to be able to have some kind of dignity about yourself. If you're going to be out there, you might as well be the best at what you're doing. Why do it if you're not going to do that? That's just like me. I'm trying to be the best I can doing these shows, presenting them to you in the best manner I can. And if you've been following the channel, you can see the improvements, day by day, week by week, month by month, as it goes. And I'm constantly trying to get better. That's what we do in life. We try to be better. You want to just stay at a recessed part of your life, or you want to progress into a higher ascension level for yourself in life. We got boxing conversations with Reggie Owens out there serving double duty. He says, salute my peoples. Salute to you, Reggie. Hope you had a great week, man. And we got Chicano Prophet out there says, the story is Canelo need to be treated like the cash cow that he is. Chicano Prophet, you know what you are, man? You're a spy, You're a spy. You come over here to Stormyman's channel and you sniff around and you say little stuff like Canelo comments and everything like that. And you act like you're supporting and everything. But I know what you are, man. You're the ops. And that's okay. Because you know what? I don't say anything right now like I'm saying to you right now that I can't repeat. You understand? And I can stand on as solid as that concrete head of yours. When you come over here, keep talking about that guy, when all we have to do is continue to expose how great he's not. Huh? How about that? And let me tell you something. If you think that he's a cash cow, he might be a cow. You understand? He's a fat cow who only wants to dine, on bones, because he ain't trying to fight none of them young guys that can get out there and slip and slide and give him some competition. He wants to take on those guys who are not agile or mobile. You understand? And that's what he wants. And he wants it at the highest price possible for his purse. That is utterly ridiculous. I had a video that was supposed to drop this evening on that sucker, but it couldn't drop because I had reverb on the audio. So I had to stop it and do it over. So therefore, you can be looking for it. And I think I'll attach Chicano Prophet name on there as a personal letter to Chicano Prophet so he can carry that video around in his back pocket as proof that Stormybman will tell you everything you need to know about that sucker who be ducking any equality competition out there in the boxing game. Yeah, he may go ahead and fight Jamal Charlo because Jamal Charlo fights like he got 2 5-pound pails tied to his feet. He don't show the mobility that he used to show when he was a little lighter at 154. But right now he seems to be the kind of guy that will stand right in front of you and can't get out the way of punches. Interesting. So don't be surprised, Chicano Prophet, if your boy finally decides to take on Mal Charlo. And it might be a fight that he can win. How about that? I bet that surprised you, didn't it? Well, don't be too damn surprised. That's why they call me the sensei. Let's see who else we got out there. He says, dang, Stormy, I love your content. Okay, you the ops. Demetrius Bright says, 2 channels are stating that Crawford really doesn't want to go through with the Porter fight. Interesting. Terry Smoot Jr. has joined us, says, salute, Sensei. Salute to you. And Watcher, my man. I like Watcher, man. He's a cool brother. He says, a coward. Yes. Yes. Both Porter and Crawford, cowards there, and Mr. Alvarez, coward there. And he says, Terry Smoot says, we here now. Yes, sir, we here. We have arrived. We on the scene. Yep. And Chicano Prophet says, the fact that I'm getting an analogy from the sensei directly is flattering. Yeah, but see, that's one thing you have to know about IQ, Chicano Prophet, because some people ain't even smart enough to know when they're being insulted properly, in the proper way. So, like my man said, Eric R., cruising for an F+, you just received it, F+, back of the room, sucker. And Bruce Goes is out there, channel member. He says, salute my brother. Salute to you, Bruce Goes. Glad to see you. And my man Drew Titan is out there. That's my brother too. Drew is my brother. You see us together on Sunday nights. We be cooking, man. You think we 2 chefs from the food channel. We be cooking over there so good. Stormybman and Drew Titan. Any of y'all got something you want to put on the grill? Just bring your butt over there at 6 p.m. Central on Drew Titan's channel, and we'll show you how it's smoking in the kitchen. That's right. We show you over there. And then who else we got? Let's see. Faith in the Cross has joined. It said, word. Yes, sir. Chicano Prophet is still talking. He ain't shut up yet. I told you about that IQ. You see, that's how you figure things out from people like that. They come out there and they keep talking, but they doing little listening. There's a reason why, sir, you got 1 mouth and 2 ears. Figure it out. Drew Titan is saluting. Faith in the Cross says, Stormy B, man, I see you working hard, setting them right. Listen, man, some people you can't set right. You understand? Even when you lead by example, they are too ashamed to follow. You know why they too ashamed to follow? Because they got ego. You understand? That's the one thing you got to check at the door when you want to learn. check your ego at the door. Come stripped so you'll be able to put something on when you leave. You understand? That's right. But like I said, we're going to find out why these guys are not fighting. I don't have the news, but, I would like to find out. So I did pose the question earlier for anybody that's out there. Listen, if you can write it in the chat, why these guys don't want to fight. I know somebody said Bud Crawford is feeling, but it's got to be some more meat to it than that. We got to, whether he's feeling it or not, he going to have to fight somebody. And even if it ain't the person that we want to see him fight, which is Sean Porter at this junction, he's not going to do anything but damage himself even more. This guy has really gone from a top pound for pound equated fighter in my eyes to a person that's getting ready to fall off of the pound for pound list. I mean, this is ridiculous. It can't all be Bob Arum. It can't all be him. It can't all be, what's his name, Bomac, but collectively, it's all of those guys because they're not working toward doing something progressive in the sport. They're doing something very recessive in the sport. And if you are that type of contributor to the sport, then I ain't got no time for you. You know what I mean? I ain't going to be talking about you. I ain't going to be having you on it. It's like, I don't care, man. I'm going to move on to the next one. And we got some young studs out there that are just willing and waiting to take your place. You know what I'm saying? That's important to know that. And that's where you should put your focus. It's an advisement for everybody that's out there. We got MPWTF out there. He says, salute Stormy. Salute to you, man. Watcher says, these guys are questionable. Yes, sir. And Terry Smooth says, make the fights Boots. But he said, make Bud fight Boots. Listen, if you can't make Bud fight Porter, you know you ain't going to be able to make him fight Boots Ennis. You know what I mean? That's just the way that goes. But, hey, man, Boots is going to be on the scene very soon. And all the other guys are going to have to take note of that, including Earl, because this young man is coming on fast and strong. I still remember the first time I saw him fight. I didn't follow him amateur. I only saw him when he was on TV. And the first fight I saw him, I was like, whoa, this young kid has Roy Jones-like talent. I didn't say he's Roy Jones. Now, don't go around saying Stormy called Boots Ennis Roy Jones. I said he had Roy Jones-like talent, which means that he can do things in an unorthodox manner and get away with it because of his physical gifts, the talent that he has, the hand speed, the foot speed, the power that's equated with that, and being able to catch guys off the cuff. It's like he can catch you on an angle. He can catch you coming straight on. He can catch you while he's moving away. I see a lot there like Roy used to do when Roy was a very young and up-and-comer. When Roy was at 154, I know many of y'all may not have watched him then, but he was surprising folks a great deal like my man Boots Ennis. But we'll see as Boots steps up the competition, because that's the one thing that will tell us about his talent, when he can fight guys who are on another level than the guys he's been fighting, where we have to see him be a little bit more defensive responsible, to see him have to set knockouts up and break guys down, not just because he tags a guy and they go down, but he'll have to work for it. And that's at that level where Earl, Bud, Porter, and those guys are. There are some guys who are just behind those guys like Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, and, a few others, Virgil Ortiz. And I think he can expose those kind of guys because they won't have the athleticism to keep up with what he's capable of doing. So, yes, sir. World Combat Sports is out there. Appreciate you, World Combat Sports, checking in. He says, salute Stormy B, man, with another one. Yes, sir. The Friday night chop session, man. Every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central, me and the brother Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, we get it cooking over here. Faith in the Cross says, I think because there are too many belts. Back then, it was only the WBA and WBC, and everyone fought each other because it was only 2 belts. This is one huge reason why they had to choose. Yeah, you know, there is some truth in that there are too many belts. But what I'm saying is these guys, even when they get belts, they don't want to fight tough competition. How many times have you seen a guy, Canelo Alvarez, that get a belt and vacate the belt because of the competition that's in contention for that belt? Huh? Yeah, I'll just move up. Huh? I'll just drop this belt and go get another belt. Huh? How many times? We see it all the time. So when you have a guy who has a belt, or he asks the sanctioning body, hey, could I have another slice of that parlay, please, where I can, become a franchise champion so I don't have to fight that tough young stud that's coming up with the sharp teeth? Huh? Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. And you have to be smart enough to know that when a guy keeps making these moves like that, he's avoiding. He's avoiding. But let me tell you something about the ocean. There's a lot of critters out there in that ocean, and some of them are deadly. You understand? And when you're in the sharp, infested waters, one of them might get you, especially if you step on some glass or something and got a little blood coming from your toe or whatever, and then they smell that blood in the water and it's on. Huh? That's what happens. Yes, sir. Faith in the Cross is saying, but now with the advent of IBF and WBO and the franchise and the Reggie and all that jazz, they can cherry pick because it's easier to get a belt and more money. And Watcher says fight once a year. MPF WTF says he's laughing at, hey man, listen, we've seen this. It's not hard to describe what you're looking at. You're looking at a host of guys who don't want to be challenged, but they want to make maximum money. Maximum money. You know what I mean? Eric R. says, yeah, the only time you're supposed to move up is if you clean out the division or you can't make the weight. Anything out of that is a duck and fraudulent. Listen, even making the weight is a bunch of crap nowadays because you have guys who are walking around, naturally bigger men, who drain themselves down to a lower weight just because they can have a physical advantage over a guy who's really around that proposed weight. Huh? So many of these fighters do that. How in the hell are you walking around 190 pounds, but you're fighting at 147 or 154? Huh? Nah. If you're fighting at 147 or 154, you should be walking around really about 168 pounds. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. That's reasonable. See, but when you take a guy that's damn near 200 pounds and he can drain himself down to 154, 160, huh? When he rehydrates after being on those scales, he can kill you in that ring with his natural strength. We saw something like that happen almost with Arturo Gatti when he took on Joey Gamache years ago. And Joey Gamache is a boxing coach now. Salute to him. But in his fight with Arturo Gatti, I think they said Gatti had rehydrated up to 18 pounds. And those men were fighting at super lightweight or something like that. And when Gotti hit that man, he almost knocked his head off his body. And that wasn't right because you could see the difference in the size of the men, but you saw the effect of the size of the men when Gotti hit him. Huh? Down there killed that man. It's not fair. And they shouldn't allow that. And it shouldn't be a thing of like, oh, you just make the weight on the scales and you have a rehydration clause where you can only gain so much weight between the weigh-in and the fight night. No. If you were walking around at 168 pounds, then yes, you could definitely be a candidate to fight at 154 or 147. Huh? Not if you're 185, 195 pounds and you draining yourself down like a Jared Hurd or something. That's utterly ridiculous because a smaller man don't stand a chance. How would Jared Hurd like it if he was walking around at 195, 185 pounds and then somebody 250 pounds want to fight him? Huh? Wouldn't like that, would he? Think about it. Yeah. Watcher says, I know we all about that. MP says, they be scared to lose, period. Eric R. says, yeah, the only time you are supposed to move up. Oh, okay, I read that one already. I'm sorry. Watcher says, the reason guys like Chris Eubank Jr. make weight easy is because he is only 3 pounds off his weight limit. Listen, let me tell you something. In the older days, the guys who fought regularly would stay right within 10 pounds of their fighting weight. It was something that they took a lot of stock and pride in because you never know when you get a call at the last moment and say, hey, you want to fight on this card, on this date? It might be a few weeks away. And it's like, hey, okay, I can make that. You know, all I got to do is change what I'm eating while I'm training because I'm in the gym regularly and start studying up on who I'm fighting. If it's a southpaw, I got to get ready for a southpaw. If it's orthodox, I got to get ready for orthodox if I'm a southpaw. It's like there's subtle things where you can zero in on what you got to do. Huh? And let me tell you, when you fight regularly, you don't have to do a lot of sparring in the gym because the timing and everything is there from the frequency of fighting. Do you know that's where you take most of your punishment? In the gym? Just because you got headgear on and everything don't mean your brain ain't being jarred about in your skull, especially when you're fighting guys that can hit you and they are heavier handed than you, maybe heavier weighted than you, lighter weighted than you, which means they can get off quicker and faster and run more off on you. So it's like, why are you subjecting yourself to the unnecessary punishment? Think about it. Huh. Terry Smooth says Jerry Hurd weighs in his offseason at 190, then drains down to 154, junior middleweight. And let me tell you something about that, too. You're more susceptible when you do that foolishness to brain injury. Why? Because just like when you cut weight to make those final couple of pounds to get on the scale, you're dehydrating yourself. You're taking fluid, extracting fluid from your body, sometimes so much to the degree that you lose the fluid that's around the brain naturally. Okay? Therefore, that's why guys get dizzy from dehydration, because the fluid is not there to circulate around that little bit of a peanut that they call a brain inside your skull. So a couple of good whacks across the head and you fall down into a coma and people be like, oh, boxing is a brutal sport. No, you just had a guy who wasn't doing the natural things he needed to do for his body and keep himself in proper shape, and he subjected himself to the trauma because he didn't understand how that works. Yeah, you got coaches and trainers and fitness gurus in the gym who will tell you some of the things you need to know, but they don't tell you all of the things that you need to know. You know why? Because somebody making money off of you. Oh, yeah, you're good. Just eat, here, swallow these pills. They're very good for you. Think about it. Terry Smooth says, Jerry Hurd does a 36-pound weight cut. Did it several times. Yeah. Bruce Goes is out there. He says, how can you stop this? Demand weigh-ins between fights? No, you can go back to having the weigh-ins the day of the fight. Huh? Yeah. That'll weed out a lot of this madness. You weigh in at 3 p.m. and you're fighting by 9 p.m. How about that? Huh? Get your butt in shape. Be in shape. Be on weight a week before the fight. And hold and maintain that weight a week before the fight. Just like if you were going and train in a high altitude where you got to get acclimated to the altitude for a few days, huh? Not just 24 hours where you be hanking like you got asthma or something. You need to get there with some time to adjust. That's how you need to do in boxing. And you can only do that by staying close to your fighting weight, huh? One of the worst things they did was create all these other divisions. It used to be 8 weight divisions. You understand? And the junior weights and all of that, it made for more leeway. Now, yes, some men were naturally smaller, but guess what? Some men during that time could come in at their walk-around weight. Huh? Yeah. This is how it happens, man. Faith in the Cross says, Stormybman, isn't that what happened to Roy Jones Jr. when he went up to heavyweight Ruiz and had to lose 25 pounds when he fought back at light heavyweight Johnson and Tarver? Listen, man, that's a discussion that could be had about what Roy did. And a lot of people are just, oh, man, he cut too much muscle and this and that or whatever. Hey, Roy did that to himself. Ain't nobody hold a gun to his head and say, lose 25 pounds and go fight Tarver. Huh? He could have cycled off and took some time and things like that. The fight would have been a longer period of time away, but no. You see? What did Roy do to himself to get up to that weight that he fought Ruiz? Nobody talks about that very much. Oh, he just naturally put on muscle. Have you seen Roy's body? Huh? And I'm not talking about now that he's an older man, but he put on, I think, what he would go up to Ruiz, he fought at 100 and 200 pounds, 200 plus, just to make the heavyweight, you know. But that was all muscle, right? That was all natural, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Faith in the Cross says, Roy was never the same again after that. Well, there's something called father time that catches up to people, some faster than others. You know what I mean? MP says they fought 10 times a year. Yeah, man. Some guys did. The guys who fought multiple times a year were smart. My man Curtis Anderson, a.k.a. Kurt Sugar, is out there. He says, salute, 100. Salute to you, Kurt. MP is out there. He says, salute to the historian, my homie Kurt. Bruce Goes is saluting. Faith in the Cross says, fact, Jones lost muscle, not good. Yep. And let's see. Where we at? Slide Encounter is out there. It says, facts. That's why you see a lot of fighters swell up quicker around the eyes and cheekbones quickly during fights. Faith in the Cross says, I remember that it was fast too. He lost it almost overnight when he went back down to light heavyweight. Yeah. D Hodges is out there, says, what up, Stormy? And chat, LDBC, salute everyone. Salute to you. And who else we got? Terry Smooth says, Floyd could come down and damn near at his walk-around weight. He was reportedly walking at 150, 152. You see? Floyd is old school. A lot of his practice, a lot of his habits, a lot of what he did to prep himself for fights professionally, Floyd understood a lot of what guys today don't do. He understood. And you have to take your hat off to someone like that because he is versed and he puts in that work. That's what I talked about. I said there may have been guys a little more talented than Floyd, but they weren't smarter because he was very smart. He utilized what he could to be the best that he could be. And he knew that a lot of guys weren't doing what he was doing. He knew that. So he stayed the course. I like to call it staying in your lane. When you know what side your bread is buttered on, you can stay in your lane. And you could capitalize on what you're doing by staying in your lane. There's a lot of people that don't understand that. They too busy looking over in your yard or across the street at the neighbor's yard and not wondering about the yard that they standing on. They can't even take care of it because their focus is somewhere else. Like some of these people out here in the chat, huh? Focus be everywhere but what we talking about, huh? Think about it. Let's see, Slide Encounter says Tarver lost about the same fighting Hopkins after his Balboa movie role. Well, that was just called being out of condition, huh? Because Sylvester Stallone wants everybody to puff up on something special when they play in his Rocky films, including your boy Michael B. Jordan. You can't tell me that kid wasn't puffed up on something. Yeah, he was puffed up, huh? Yeah, it's bad for you in the long run, too. Make your jewels shrivel up. That's right. Might want children one day. Terry Smoot says Floyd may be Sean Porter because he works out all year. Terrence and a few can naturally walk around at fighting weight. Listen, Sean Porter is one of the most conditioned athletes that you'll see in the sport of boxing. And I'm not just talking about the work that he does in the gym, but you look at Sean and his motor through a 12-round fight, he rarely has drop-off. So the man is in very good condition, which tells me that he keeps himself in pretty good shape year-round. You had that one fight where he was like, had to strip down to make weight or whatever. That can happen from time to time. But most times, Sean is the consummate professional when it comes down to that. I want to take a moment and say salute to my man Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, who has joined us in the studio. What's going on with you, Reggie?
Oh, there we go. What's up, Stormybman? How's it going, OG?
Oh, man, it's all good, man. Just warming it up for you, man. We're waiting on you to come on in so we can have some good boxing talk this evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How's your week been? Pretty good. I've been seeing your videos, man. You've been, my goodness, you've been posting a lot of news, man. And I'll just say this. If you guys want to, keep abreast on what the happenings are around the country, man, check out Reggie's channel, man. He's got some stories to drop. And let me tell you, man, some of it is like, it's just eye-opening material. I won't even repeat it, but I'll just recommend that you go over there and check the man's channel out because he keeps you, ear to the ground with what's happening out there in the community as well as across the nation. So salute to you on your work on that, Reggie.
I appreciate that, OG, man. And y'all check out both channels because I got two of them.
Yeah, both channels. And whenever you get a moment, Reggie, you can drop the link for your channels in the chat so people can know. I haven't seen my man Taylor Bell. I don't know where he's at. I hope he's okay. If anybody has seen or heard from Taylor Bell, please tell him that Stormy is concerned for him and want to know where the brother is because we ain't heard from him in a minute. But, yeah, Reggie, I called this particular show Of Mice Not Men in Boxing. And my reason for doing that is, again, like just before going on the air this evening, Reggie, I heard news that I didn't have a chance to investigate that now the Crawford-Porter fight is not happening. Did you hear anything on that?
No, I didn't. And what's the reason behind that?
I don't know. I've asked somebody to write it in the chat, and the only response that we got in the chat was, word is that Bud is not really feeling the fight or something. I said, well, we need something more concrete than that. If the fight is not happening, I want to know the reason that they gave and why, because I just heard it like literally 20 minutes before I went live, and I didn't have time to investigate the story or anything. But if that fight is not happening now, Reggie, that makes four major fights in the past month and a half that were on the slate or getting prepped and in talks and didn't happen. We're talking about the Kambosos fight with Teofimo. We're talking about the Fury Wilder fight. We're talking about the Canelo Alvarez fight with Caleb Plant, and now this proposed fight that supposedly the WBO had mandated for, these two guys, Porter and Crawford. So, I mean, it couldn't have happened at a better time because we're talking about this on tonight's show of Mice and Men, and the mice are running away from challenges and supreme opportunity, and the men are standing their ground waiting for something to change. And it don't look like it's changing anytime soon. What are your thoughts as we begin to open up on this particular subject, Reggie?
Man, my thoughts on the problem is that the school system has failed everybody. Then everybody in the sport of boxing is dumb as hell. I don't know why these fighters think they can go about picking and choosing what opportunities they're going to fight, who they want to fight, what a fighter needs to do, who ain't got a resume, who ain't got this. This is school system failures because these fools are stupid. This is in-home failures because these fools are stupid. This is the amateur boxing systems because these fools are stupid. They ain't prepared to go about challenging themselves as warriors within a sport. You don't got a lot of people that's warriors in a sport. You just got people that were brought into gyms, taught to fight so that they weren't bullied, end up having some success in these programs, and then move into the sport of boxing. And then a lot of them being young, they get out the sport where they're competing against younger fighters in that amateur program and realize that they ain't here with some people are grown men. They may not be the most, PR televised type people, but these folks out here are real killers inside that ring, and they can care less about imagery, fame. Some don't even care if they win or lose. They get the thrill out of being inside of a ring to fight folks because they're true fighters. This sport has been intermixed with people who are retarded and folks who really don't push to challenge themselves. They've become lucky because of they have particular looks, particular fans that gravitate towards them, think they the real deal, and then when challenges stand in front of them, they run away from this stuff, and we get stuck in the current situations that we're in because they get into certain turns on certain streets, and they realize they're standing in the alley with someone who was there to bring it to them, and they create all sort of reasonings as to why they're not going to fight, why they pulling out these fights, and especially in this current time period we live in, really shows the ignorance of a lot of these fighters, or the stupidity of a lot of these fighters, because they take so much for granted as far as what we're dealing with and the prospects of the sport shutting off and money not being there for them. These are fighters who are paid based on events that they compete in. Otherwise, ain't no money coming in there. And the expenses come every single dang month. So to me, it just shows the intelligence of these current age fighters, and that intelligence is probably down to like zero with a lot of these fools. None of this stuff makes sense, man. None of it makes sense. Even when they copy people, the stuff they do don't make sense. They want to copy Floyd and do shoulder rolling stuff. It don't make sense. They want to copy the Floyd Mayweather get rich programs. It doesn't make sense the way they go about it. They want to copy Floyd's success to staying undefeated. It don't make sense of what they're doing. They don't challenge themselves. They don't push themselves. They have asked their way through the dang sport. And when it comes to people wanting real work and effort from these guys, they're not willing to give it a lot of times. And that's the reason why I focus on a lot of other things outside of those particular fighters who don't challenge themselves. There's a lot of other people to focus in on, and I got a lot of different interests in the world than to worry about these clowns. But that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, man, and we see a lot of the times that these guys are like, they're bought into this notion of they have to optimize their income and everything. And I was waiting for you to come aboard because I wanted to touch on the sham of a negotiation that took place between Plant and Alvarez. You know, that whole ordeal there and how it busted up. You know, did you hear the part about the negotiation ploy that said that if this fight were to not take place, Canelo wanted to still, you know, find another opponent and still make the same amount of money that would have been proposed to fighting Caleb Plant. In other words, if it was going to be 30, 40 million, whatever the price was that they named, that if he were to have to select another opponent, he wanted to still get the same pay. Who pays you for doing less or going in against lesser? I mean, when I heard that aspect, and there were plenty others, Reggie, but just to open it up and start talking about it, that right there is insulting to my intelligence right there. Because basically what you're telling me is, just like these other guys that he fought, like the Callum Smiths and the Rocky Fieldings, he wants to score a tremendous payday for not doing anything and still be admonished for being a fighter, you know, that's stringing together victories and knockouts over freaking nobodies. And then they're paying him handsomely for it too. Man, if you don't get off that high horse, I'll shoot you off of that bad boy. It's like, what the hell is this all about, man? And when did it come to that? Because if he calls himself emulating what Floyd Mayweather was able to do, and that was to command the highest end of dollars, Floyd Mayweather did it through accomplishing against quality opposition. And he put himself in a position to bet on self and gamble on self and came out victorious and on top, because that's how you do it. You beat the best. When you've beat the best, can't nobody say nothing. Now, it's a different thing when they're running away from you, right? And so, but Floyd still managed to defeat enough of the best of opposition that when he became what they like to call the A side, he could dictate the terms. But even the terms that he dictated, like if he wanted Olympic style testing, or if he wanted the gloves to be on the level, and you can't just pull up any kind of designer gloves that may not have padding in them or whatever, and things of that nature. Or if he wanted to have all his fights in Vegas because he knows that's where the high rollers are and they're going to pay the expensive prices for those ringside tickets and everything, that's his prerogative. But it's not cheating anybody. You just got to be good to be in there and compete with them. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? And what did you think when you heard of these ridiculous negotiation ploys that Canelo was trying to implement on their promotion?
When I heard of this, it added more to what's been running through my mind, and what I was speaking about yesterday was, I think this guy is afraid of, to be honest, I really think he's afraid of Caleb Plant. I really think he is. And the reason behind that is what Caleb poses. Caleb begins the start of his difficult path going forward, being there's the Charlos there's Plant, there's Benavidez, and then there's the 175 pounders that are out there. And all these guys pose a risk to him. And out of this group, Plant and Benavidez probably pose the greatest challenges to him. And with Plant's ability to move around and things like that, he's a difficult face for Canelo, in my opinion. But the fact that he moves around, Canelo doesn't seem comfortable being in fighters like that. And not so much of Caleb Plant having the boxing abilities and movement of like how Floyd showcased that. Amir Khan was showcasing it before he got caught. Is the fact that this guy is bigger than all these guys. and he has greater reach than those guys, greater reach than Canelo. He can probably keep Canelo at the end of the jab, move around on him. How does Canelo adjust to that? Can Canelo catch him with the shots that he needs? What's the name? Rolls well with shots. As great as he is offensively, he also makes that up defensively as well. And I think he does give Canelo one of these threats of, placing the defeat on this record. And that would set Canelo back. Also, the problem going in here with how Canelo goes in the negotiation is DAZN has set this off. When DAZN came in there with that huge contract that afforded him to being in this spot to where he's guaranteed $30-something million. And then when they decide they want to get out of that because of the funny business dealings of Oscar, you get Eddie Hearn who runs in there. Eddie Hearn immediately runs in there, capturing, his the relationship he's building with Canelo and still offering Canelo that range of pricing per fight of the $30 million range. So Canelo's feeling like he's in that top seat. He's in the driver's seat of things. That people are throwing this kind of money at him, and they've created that monster. And many other fighters want to fight him, being that everybody's running after him, chasing him, and it's understood why, because of the money situations that come with it. But now the fighters out there who are out here to challenge him, because he's put in a position where fans are starting to want to see these tougher fights. These fighters need to keep the price right here at $10 million as a minimum to getting inside that ring with Canelo. No one should go offer. No one should be breaking the line, almost like as if you're in a strike and this is the union going on strike off, picketing off, putting up a protest for greater benefits, better pay. That's what these fighters need to do. Draw a line in the sand with Canelo. And even what they talking with Bivol better not mess things up. Talking about coming down to fight this guy and talking about lesser money. Don't cheat yourself when you coming in the fights with this guys. The budgets are around $50 million, and you're gonna go in here and take $2 and $3 million just to prove something. You can beat them, but what comes after that? You have devalued yourself as a dang champion. Now you're worth nothing. You're worth nothing by coming in here taking pennies to go in here and take a fight against Canelo. You get what you're worth. Though that price range should be around $10 million. He needs to pay it up. He's getting 40 from what they're talking about. What's his dang problem? He's fearing this guy, or there could be some other stuff going on. But the fact that Caleb Plant's the same guy he tried to cheat with making this short notice fight, Caleb turned it down, would not settle for less going in here with this guy, regardless of what boxing tries to label him as. He's nothing but another man. And I salute Caleb Plant for treating that guy as such. But I think Canelo fears this dude. And that's the reason why he's coming in with this punk-like behavior. There's a lot of these fighters out here who not so much are fearing these guys because of being beaten by them, but what a loss does for them. A lot of these dudes are fearful of L's because of what it affects financially. Canelo taking a hit financially, it puts, and then it also corrects a lot of things. It puts networks and promoters in better positions of how much they can offer Canelo. And that's just my thoughts on it.
Well, yeah, you touched on a couple of things, the fear factor, and then what the other guys do and what the fight is worth. First of all, let me say this. He is one of the most overpaid fighters I've ever seen in my life. That ridiculous contract that they signed him to for DAZN when he went over there with Golden Boy in tow, and how he was able to rip off the masses as well as the people who paid him. And he from that point, he stood his ground, even to the point where he was like telling Golden Boy to get out of here, man. That kind of thing now. And see what is really going on between he and De La Hoya now is like De La Hoya was actually right about some things. He did protect Canelo. He did try to use certain type of influence to keep Canelo afloat. And Canelo, remember, he was kind of silent. He wasn't, saying nothing, and he let PR do the talking for him, and he wasn't trying to speak in English and all of that stuff. But he's such a prima donna now because he's paid. He could walk away from the sport and be good. And that's the people's fault who paid him. like that because he didn't do anything. Don't forget, in that fight against Kovalev, they brought him out, they ushered him out like he was the first fighter since Henry Armstrong to win and hold championships in multiple divisions like that. And that was totally not true. You understand? And they were actually advertising that he, as if he had accomplished it before the fight even took place. They were showing the thing on the Jumbotron that he is the multiple champion and everything before the fight. It was like a foregone conclusion, which made me feel even more that right hand that he hit Kovalev with, and Kovalev fell like a sack of potatoes. Man, Kovalev didn't fall like that when he got hit by Alida Alvarez or some of the other fighters that really put it on his behind. It's just something. That kid from the UK that almost beat Kovalev, but Kovalev came back and knocked him out. You know, it's like, no. If you can't see that they have marketed this guy to keep him there, and Oscar was protecting that, even though Oscar got his own problems, that can't be denied. But now you can see it because the cover isn't there anymore. The shielding. This guy has been beating people with extra stuff written into the contracts for negotiations and things like that. It's like he's had his fill. And the fear factor that you mentioned is he doesn't want to look bad against a fighter that can outbox him on paper, outbox him, that has the skill set to do what Floyd Mayweather did. Not be Floyd Mayweather. I'm not even trying to propose that. I'm talking about to be athletic, to be agile and mobile and be able to move and give him problems. The guys that he has looked best against were guys he were able to just walk down and beat him up. Look at Billy Joe Saunders. Who told him to start bending over and leaning over into those uppercuts and stuff that what happened to the lateral movement that he was known to do and everything? So did Billy Joe really sell his belt? Possibly. Possibly. But look at everyone else. Did Kovalev sell himself? Possibly. Huh? Did that guy Smith, Callum Smith, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach or whatever, beat a guy up in the previous fight with your jab only, barely threw the jab against Canelo? It's like you can't see that people are handicapped in fights against him. You have to call it for what it is. And then, yes, they're getting paid, and they're probably making their biggest payday to date. But where is integrity? Where is the gumption to try to go out and do your best, to do your damnedest, to try to knock somebody's head off so you can snatch that bit of glory from him and apply it to yourself? This is like a made situation, like the mob is involved or something, allegedly, because it's like, what else can you say? And when you talk about Caleb Plant can do all the things that will cause him problems. The guy, he's got shot knees, okay? We're talking about Alvarez here. He's got shot knees. He can't move laterally. He can't really chase a guy down that's going to be turning him and spinning him this way and taking him that way and there. That's not what he wants. So they probably were considering the fight. They tried to get him once before on a short notice. And Caleb was like, I ain't falling for those tricks. I'm a professional. Kudos to him for that. But they, meaning he and Reynoso, they probably went back, Reggie, looked at some tapes of Caleb Plant, even against his fight against Truax. And they say, you know what? This kid gonna give us problems. This is a problem you don't need, Canelo. We don't need this, from this guy. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to tell him we want this, we want that, we want a hat, We want a rat. We want a cat. We want a dog. We want the house. We want the car. We want everything, and see what they say. And when Caleb's people said, okay, they were like, well, if he gets sick, I don't have to fight him. But if I get sick, he has to wait till I get better. Huh? Or if something happens and the fight don't come off, I get a chance to fight somebody else, but I want to get paid the same amount that I was getting paid for fighting him. Huh? All of these kind of stipulations that were like so foolish, it's like all of a sudden now you see by doing this, you can make it look like it was a hard-nosed negotiation. But it was never really that. It was just a means of taking you through these changes so you will have an excuse to hang the hat on that the fight won't take place. Because when fighters want to fight each other, Reggie, the fights happen like that. The negotiations go like that. People sit down and they agree because they want it to take place. That's not what happened here. And you're going to see it's never going to happen as long as he's able to call the shots, because he wants to have stipulations that are going to almost assure him a victory. I wouldn't be surprised now if he goes back and reconsider the fight against Triple G for a third time. You know why? Because Triple G is like 3 to 4 to 5 years older in boxing sense and timetable. And that'll be a much more winnable fight for him, because he beat the guy in the last fight, and seeing how bad Triple G looked in his past couple of fights, he looked like he might beat him even easier now. So, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was a game plan the entire time. All this other stuff was just to draw it out, because people will probably pay for that. But real boxing people will know it's a sham. I just made a video about Triple G a little over a week ago saying how, he's the big ducking show, not the big drama show, but the big ducking show. He's ducked any smoke from anybody competitive, but all he's wanted to do was fight Canelo. You know why? Because Canelo might defeat him, but he doesn't feel Canelo can beat him up. And that's a risk he's willing to take without really getting hurt and get paid well for it. These other guys, he know, the Charlos and Andres and those guys, Benavidez, all of those guys, they will beat him up as well, as defeat him or whatever. So why not go in against a lesser threat to your health, which is Canelo? Because I still say Canelo can't punch like that. You know what I mean? And there's been guys who go down and go out, and it's like, especially the Kovalev fight. You cannot tell me that was a real knockout. I've watched plenty of boxing in my life. It reminded me of the time that Cliff Etienne fought Mike Tyson. And when Mike Tyson threw that right hand and hit him, on his way down to the canvas, he was taking his mouthpiece off as he laid on the floor. He think that people didn't see that crap? Dude, Etienne waited for Tyson to hit him with something so he could go down, and he took his mouthpiece out as he laid on the canvas. He took his own mouthpiece out and laid there for a count. If you're incoherent and knocked out, you ain't got time to think about taking your mouthpiece out. You're laying on the canvas out. But he took it out of his mouth. Go back and look at it. Kovalev, when he got hit with that right hand, he went down on the ropes and dropped his head down like this, and the ref just waved it off. Couple minutes later, he up clapping, and shaking Canelo's hand and smiling because he getting ready to go cash that check. Come on, man. I done seen far too much boxing in my life to believe in that crap. No fairy tales. No fairy tales. But this is like what we're seeing here. And people need to hold him to task. Am I saying Canelo is not a good fighter? Absolutely not. He's a very good fighter. But against his contemporaries, I would love to see how he measure up if he were to fight them on the up and up, which he's absolutely not trying to do. When David Benavidez got stripped of that belt, he ran to that title to pick it up. Why didn't he just go challenge David Benavidez? Or why didn't he accept the challenge of Andre Durrell when they fought on the same night on 2 different fight cards? They could have been fighting each other. And if people can't see the shame and the sham of the sport, this is ridiculous. And all we want to see are good fights. But it's not a good fight if you told a guy who had to come down 40 pounds that he can't rehydrate over 12 pounds after the weigh-in. It's not a good fight if you're telling the fighter who's your opponent that he has only 4 weeks to get ready for the fight. It's not a good fight if you're taking on a fighter who just fought life and death with someone, even though victorious, and you only give him a month and a month and a half to get over his wounds and go right back into training to fight you, and you've been off for 4 months. People can't see the sham. Sometimes money isn't everything, but to some people, money is the only thing. But what I really don't like is the sports writers hiding this, that they don't tell you the truth, because they help keep this myth going. And then they take the focus and put it on somewhere else where it doesn't need to be. Those are my thoughts on that, Reggie. Salute to Renee Box Young. I see you out there, Renee. Good to see you. But yeah, it's just ridiculous, man. And we're seeing this so much that I don't think that anything is going to change anytime soon. I think that we're going to see this go on a bit longer, and it's going to take someone to upset the apple cart. If we could get a fighter in there who ain't supposed to win and take it from this guy, then you could see some change. But there's no guarantee that that's going to happen, because his people are scouting. They're scouting to make sure that they, like I said, I believe that Reynoso, and he went back and looked at tapes, and Reynoso was telling him, nah, not this guy. Let this guy go out to sea. We'll find somebody else.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I think they really worried about Plant. Really think so. They worried about that boxing. Not, and when people hear word, they talk about, well, Plant ain't got no power. It ain't about that. It's about what he'll do inside that ring. He'll be one of these guys that can go in there and make Canelo possibly look ordinary just through his ability to box. And I think he's one of the more polished boxers that is up at that division. Great footwork, great movement. And when he doesn't need to get hit, Caleb Plant is very responsible defensively. And Canelo will have issues with that, especially with a guy that's going to move. A lot of these guys that are like that they expect you that's going to get in there and bang with them to stand in front of them. Not going to get that with Plant. And Plant has the ability to catch you. He very quick-handed, great combinations. He'll catch Canelo swinging and missing, leave Canelo frozen in place. He'll do exactly what Floyd was able to do with Canelo. You can find moments to make Canelo miss. Taller guys can keep Canelo at bay. You can do the same thing, picking up with what Kovalev should have been doing with his jab, putting a little bit more pop on it, that you can possibly do with that. Canelo's a good fighter, and I think Canelo can probably beat everybody that's out there, but these are guys that pose Canelo these 50-50 risks. And I think with that boxing, Caleb Plant can separate himself in that fight. And Canelo's worried about that. He's definitely worried about it. Otherwise, he'll take the fight. That makes no excuse. $40 million guaranteed. What's the excuse? What's the reason behind all this other stuff? All these stipulations this guy adds in to contracts. Then it's talked about they're giving him TV rights, and now he wants gate revenue rights and all this other concessions he needs in order to make the fight. Dude, you are taken care of. What are you excuses you're creating? only so much Al Heyman I'm going to give you. And then it was talks about he wanted a rematch clause just for himself, but not for Caleb Plant. They were cool with that. Go ahead, we'll take it. And I forgot somebody else wrote something yesterday in the chat that was just mind-boggling what he was demanding from the PBC to make this fight. It's just like, guy don't want the fight.
Oh, yeah, it was ridiculous, Reggie. The dude had a laundry list of demands, and they were all ridiculous, but it just goes to show, shout out to the Plant people, because they wanted to make the fight. But at the end of the day, it wasn't even them turning down demands, more or less. It was like Canelo's people saying, damn, they won't reject none of these terms. Let's just say we'll go somewhere else. It's like they didn't want it. It's like they kept saying, okay, you got to jump over this. This is 6 feet. And you jump that and clear it. They say, okay, well, this is 9 feet. You got to jump over this. You clear that. And he's like, well, this is 15 feet. Let me see you go over that. And you go over that. They be like, well, we don't want to play this no more. It's like, that's what they were doing. I'm telling you, man, I haven't seen it like this in the sport of boxing in a very long time. A very long time. I don't like it, because it really makes the sport look bad, you know, when people are going out of their way to, you know, just like fool the public, man. Fool the public. And why is this guy allowed to just do this and nobody say anything? And like, we talk about it, right? We're on the come up. We're like, you know, but the old media is established. They're not talking about these things. Just like they don't talk about Tyson Fury being a cheater in the sport, way beyond us getting to his most recent fights. He's been doing it for the damnedest long time. And it's almost like they have erased it, just like they erased Lomachenko's record on television when that loss magically disappeared when they showed his record on the TV screen a couple years ago. Remember that? And they actually showed him sitting in the audience watching the fight, and it was like his record was 13-0 or something. I was like, what? He clearly lost. Man, but this is what they do. And it's okay when you know, got the complexion and the protection. Huh? And you know Canelo looked like a, you know, redhead Irish dude or a Scottish dude. He does. You know? Let's just say it. But hey, man, listen, I ain't got nothing else to say about him tonight on that. But, and like I told everyone earlier, I had a video ready to go on this, Reggie, and found out when I was uploading and finalized it, and it was like, it had audio reverb. It was like echoing. So I was like, dang, I don't want to put it out like this. I want it to be clear. So I took it down, because it was supposed to premiere before the show tonight. So I had to do it all over. But, yeah. Let's get to talking about some of these fights that are on the horizon, man. This weekend, we were supposed to see a fight and a return of both Conor Benn and Adrian Granados, which I think that was a really good fight, Reggie. A really good fight. But it just so happens that Mr. Benn came down with the C-19, man. And so that fight is off. And, you know, it's unfortunate, because now one of the fights that was on the undercard of that, Zhu Khan, the WBA featherweight champion, is taking on Lee Wood, and that's going to be the main event now, broadcast on DAZN. But let me know what your thoughts are with the possibility of the fight that was originally slated, Reggie, the Benn versus Granados fight. I have been talking about Benn being a guy I like to see more of, and I liking the fact that he decided to come to America and start training in some American gyms and fighting some American opponents. I think that's always a good move, especially if you're one of the UK fighters or fighters from outside the US that wants to get better. You know what I mean? And Granados would have been a very, very good challenge for him, I thought. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate with that fight being lost, but once again, it points to how serious this thing is that's out here. In the fight, I like the momentum that's going with Conor Ben. I think he would have put tips on Adrian Granados. I really think he would have really showcased his skills in this fight, and went in here to get close to even stopping Granados. Expected him to pull off a wide margin victory against Granados. I think the train is speeding away with Conor Ben, and I think he's trying to get into the hunt of the top guys that are contending for champions, and also to look to be a champion himself. And Granados is just nothing but a one of the steps in the way, and I think he's ready to I thought he was ready to walk over it and move up to the next level. But in their fight, when they do return to the ring, I think he's gonna go in here and look the same way he did in his last fight. I think the only guys who are gonna pose a true threat to him are going to be some of the other top guys who are kind of breaking into becoming top 10 rated contenders, top 5 rated contenders. That's my thoughts with him.
Yeah, and see, that's what I was enjoying. Like I said and laid out before asking you the question, I like the fact that this was a step in the right direction to take on, someone like Granados, because Granados is going to give you rounds. He's going to give you tough, rugged rounds for however long he's going to be in there. I don't think he is a challenger for a title at this time, unless he happens to upset someone and traject himself in that way. But he's definitely a man that you can take a fighter like Ben and put him in there against to see exactly what Ben's strengths are and how to showcase. It's better than he just fighting another one of those guys with double-figure losses over in the UK. And excuse me. And I do think that it was a positive step in the right direction. Now, as far as what happened to him and why the fight is not taking place, man, I don't know, man. It's like there's two things afoot here. One is the natural way of dealing with what we have is now a serious reality in our society and health and well-being. And two, the loophole that exists for people to have an out. I don't want this situation to become that which gives someone an excuse to not go through with obligation. I do believe we've seen it already 2 times before with Fury in his fight that was supposed to take place on the 24th of this month, and with Teofimo and his fight that was supposed to take place with George Kambosos. Even though it's supposedly rescheduled and everything, I don't like the fact that the fight didn't happen. They want to talk about the guy didn't sell tickets and all of that. That's okay, but you remember what they said the report was, that he had this situation. And it's like, if that turned out to be a lie, then why are you guys lying on something that's so serious and people have actually lost their lives? It's like, that's unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And it's nothing to make a joke of. It is nothing to conveniently to look for an out, and because people are going to have sentiment because you say you're attaching yourself to something so serious. But as we saw with the Fury situation, where was the seriousness when he was parading around about town and taking pictures with people and everything, when he should have been doing some other things that are advised of anyone who has come in contact? So it's like, come on, man. Are you kidding me? And this kid, Teofimo, they used that excuse on him, and he's over in Europe, in Italy somewhere, and he's, enjoying life like he's on vacation or holiday or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with him being on vacation or holiday. But remember what we were told. And if you're going to tell us these kind of things and they not be true, how can we believe or hold to any trust in anything that you say if this is how you're going to conduct affairs going forward? I don't have any appreciation for that whatsoever.
And I think Kambosos Kambosos poses a real threat to everything that they have set for themselves. And I think that's one of the reasons why they don't want to. They're looking elsewhere than to challenge this guy, because Kambosos is kind of riding a wave. He doesn't fear Teofimo. His confidence is through the roof. The fan base over there, the Australians are very, very loyalist type fans. They're no different than the UK. They're going to turn out, and I think they're in full support of this guy. Teofimo a little bit worried about an opponent with this level of belief, this level of confidence, the way Kambosos challenges Teofimo when they're in the presence of each other. That's worrisome, because now you don't have that mental edge over this opponent. And I think Kambosos has gained some mental edges on Teofimo and his family. He can talk with the best of them. He believes everything he's talking about. He ain't in here to lay down for Teofimo. And with everything Teofimo has done and Teofimo's kind of burning bridges when it comes to the way they negotiate deals. They have started off doing the proper things and getting themselves more money. But now when you're put in situations where someone comes in there and they do this last minute bid to take your fight, paying you twice or three times what your own promoter was willing to offer for you, and you turn around and you try to bite them, that doesn't sit well with a lot of people out there. Also pulling off the little sidebar deals they try to pull in order to talk to Eddie Hearn about the Devin Haney fight and talking $10 million. Lucky someone caught that to hear this. So y'all demanding this kind of money in order to fight the guy you're supposed to be fighting, but you're asking for $10 million. So it shows like there's some type of way they're trying to have some financial assurances before going into fights that they're worried about. By the statement of the $10 million, you're getting what was he getting for this fight? $4 million. Then now you're trying to pull out of it because they're fed up. They want to take this fight over to Australia because you probably done pushed this thing back so far that you run into, and the thing that he misses with a lot of these fighters. That's why I say the school system has failed a lot of these dummies. They lack the intelligence, and that's what promoters like, people like that. Folks who can just get in the ring and just box off an instinct without using any level of an inch of a brain cell to think of the other aspects outside the ring. They like them dumbed down. That the fact that America's a different place when it comes to sports. We have so many sports within this country, and now you have messed up them holding the venue, which happens in stadiums that are shared with franchises. Now you have the seasons that are going to start back up. You're going to run into where you push that fight so far back to where you got NBA season going on, you got other boxing events going on, football events, concerts, everybody trying to get stuff in. You got some of these places that also run conventions in these places. Like, it ain't just willy-nilly and free like other countries who don't really have these various sports that fans are attracted to. And boxing not being at the level, the boxing is at that level in moments depending on who's fighting, but boxing not being at the level where you're dealing with the how well people track over towards the NFL, the NBA. You get moments where people are into that NASCAR stuff, and these sports share the same fan bases, but they share different population of people that attract to it. And these fools are too dumb to realize you got to take advantage of when you have these moments and when you have these dates. Otherwise, they become lost. And these promoters have to factor that in. I'm pretty sure the promoters factor that in. You don't want to be trying to compete with other sports when their seasons are hot or specific dates. And even in boxing, boxing is competing with all these different promotional companies So boxing has its own issues to where it competes within itself. Promoters are fighting events on the same day. You got other sides of combat sport competing in the same day, pulling the attraction away from the sport you're trying to make money in. And this is where there's a failure from fighters to think about these things. So many of these fighters rely on the business people, the suits, to figure these things out. And if you let a suit figure these things out, or the suit gonna realize this boy a little stupid. Yeah, let me go ahead and do some of this cooking on him. I'm a penny the what he gonna earn out. Let me get him just about a penny percentage on what's really coming in. I'm gonna keep the rest of this 99, and he won't understand. He won't look into it. He won't be able to figure it out. And that's the deal when it comes to this sport. A lot of these dudes just miss these opportunities of understanding. All this excuse making, getting out of fights is a no-no. You're gonna miss these opportunities, and then you're gonna become hard to deal with where nobody wants to touch you. And the way they do business, the way they handle these events, even Tyson Fury, you canceling out events 2 weeks before a fight, nobody's going to deal with you. Tyson Fury's going to learn a hard lesson. If he loses this fight to Wilder, nobody's going to touch him because you're too risky a business. You're too risky to deal with. Your mental state is going. And every single one of these dudes have mental state issues. Too risky to deal with. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and some very good points there that you made. You know, at the end of the day, we need to see people stepping up to the plate for certain aspects of driving not only their careers forward, but the sport forward. But you made a great connection between the lack of knowledge and how these guys have failed through the school system. And now they're out here and they're being worked over systematically by the powers that be. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. So, again, this Saturday on The Zone, we got this WBA lightweight championship. Zhu Khan is taking on Lee Wood. I don't know who either of these guys are. Haven't seen them fight, but they are now the main feature for this card that was originally going to have as the main event Conor Benn and Adrian Granados. Speedy recovery to Benn. I kind of like the trajectory and steam. His career has started to pick up, and I'm excited to see him again. I think he's going to be a dark horse in the sweepstakes of what's happening at 147. And listen, if he's got any of his dad's championship blood in him, that's going to be something to deal with because there's not a lot of guys with championship blood in them out there, even some of the titleists who are out there, and we're seeing it every day. I don't have to speak it. You see it if you just open your eyes and wipe the dirt off the lenses of your glasses, because these guys are showing you every day what's happening. You know what I mean? Listen, and as we move forward to talk about another match this weekend on Fox Sports, it was originally supposed to be Michael Coffey against Gerald Washington. Now he's taking on this guy Rice, who we just saw a couple months ago on a Fox broadcast or FS1. But in steps Rice, and they're going to face off Saturday night on Fox. And this is another PBC broadcast. And they're going to have a couple of fights on the undercard. You got Vito Manecki Jr. taking on James Martin, and Joey Spencer is coming back against Dan Carpenter. So it's like we do have boxing this weekend. Coffey, I've only seen a couple of highlights of him, but he's a heavyweight. And the big boys, you know, strange things happen when the big boys start letting those fists fly. Like we saw that wonderful cruiserweight fight just a couple of months ago. And again, when you see stuff like that, you just want to tune in because you don't know what's gonna happen. But again, Reggie C19 has hit this fight card because Gerald Washington was inflicted with this, and so he had to bow out. Maybe not such a bad thing for Washington because Kofi was the headliner here, and Washington hasn't fared well the past couple of times that he's been in there with some of the higher level fighters. So, again, this is a fight that we can tune into. At least we got some boxing this weekend, but I'm not exactly sold on what we're going to see because it's just some uncertainty here. But it'll be boxing on TV, and that's the most that we can throw our support behind. You got any thoughts on this card or what happened with Washington? And I saw you just wrote in the chat that you think this is going to affect the whole sports as a whole. And you mentioned that a baseball game was canceled due to multiple players. Again, are people putting themselves at risk more? I think so. I was on vacation from my place of work this week, but prior to me being on vacation, even every day I go to work, I, try my best to, take care of myself with my mask and stuff like that. But it's like I had a couple people in my place of work asking me, don't you just want to get rid of the mask or whatever? I said, of course I would love to get rid of it, but at this time I think it's serving a purpose. I'm doing okay as of right now, but it's like I'd rather have it than not have it. You know what I mean? And it's like I know some of these people that feels like because they went and let some people stick them and everything that's cool too, but that ain't no guarantee. You got people still dying because of that. And I'm not here to be political about it. I'm just saying the reality is there's a tremendous amount of unknown. But the most that you can do is try to protect yourself and your family. That should be your first mandate, to try to protect yourself. And just because somebody wants to stick you don't mean that that's protection. You might be allowing yourself to be more vulnerable. Use common sense. Use instinct. Animals in the wilderness, when they hear a sound, they stop and they look around and they say, oh, it's getting hot. Let me move. People in the urban city hear gunshots and they say, where they shooting at? Let me go see. And oh, they got hit. It's like, where's the instinct of a human being for survival? Feet too swift to mystery. You running into danger instead of ducking for cover. Reggie just said what they teaching you in school now. To not think, because that seems to be the mandate of order there, right? Don't think. Wait to be programmed. But people are going to have to take care of themselves, man. And can't nobody take care of you better than you. And can't nobody take care of your family better than you. So step up to that charge and be the person to take charge, But any thoughts, Reggie, on this card here for Saturday night on Fox?
No, because I really don't know too much about too many of the guys. I want to see what Joey Spencer's going to fight like. See what Nicky, I think he's coming off of a loss, and see what adjustments Coffee makes against this guy going in here with who is fighting Price. Seeing what adjustment he's going to make. I know he's a big hitter. That's what people are looking forward to. Seeing if he's going to go in here and score another knockout, or how well does he box. Want to see if Joey Spencer improve on some things, because there's some things he needs to work on. So I'm gonna look forward because it's boxing. I just have an appreciation for boxing and for the guys that want to get in there and fight. Can care less about these other dudes. I don't, like I say, I like these fighters, but I'm not a fan of none of them. My favorite fighters are retired. These other dudes, I enjoy them, but when they do stuff that they fall away from making fights, I can care less about them. I'm too much of a boxing fan to focus on them. Plus, I like MMA. But if with guys like the guys fighting Sunday, they're the stars of boxing to me. So I'm gonna be locked in, watching these fights and seeing the way they shape out and analyzing it like do all fights. I have appreciation for these guys as much as I do for the guys who are the stars, the so-called stars of the sport. These dudes right here fit in that same light, and that's the way I watch it, respect it, get mad when they're ripped off by judges, referees doing bad judging. My reactions are the same. I treat them all the same. I just like to see folks in the ring putting their plans in to see who has the greatest of plans and who has the greatest will inside that ring. It's all the same with me, but that's what I'm gonna check out.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, was it Melnicki or Spencer who is coming off a loss, and you just said it was Melnicki, right?
Yeah, I think Melnicki. Spencer been getting those breaks. He should have like 2 losses.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in a real tough fight, and he got a decision. So that must have been what I was thinking about, because I was thinking like one of these guys has had a loss already, but you just reminded me and corrected me that it was Melnicki. So it'll be interesting to see what he has to offer going forward, because again, you know, but hey, man, a loss ain't the end of the world. You know, it's like you have to learn. As long as you can learn and come back and improve and things of that nature, because there's a ton of fighters who have fought and have multiple losses on their record, but they became champions. You know, Vince Phillips, you know, smooth Vince Phillips, you know, cool Vince Phillips. That they remind me of guys like that. And when they do finally win a title, you kind of have an appreciation for them, because they went out there and they got it from the mud, you know, so to speak. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. I want to come up on a reminder of what's on the horizon with this Pacquiao versus Spence. Now, today, Reggie, a lot of talk of the town was, you know, some kind of sparring video that got released on Earl Spence, and that he was being, you know, challenged in the sparring or whatever. I didn't see the video, just listened to a lot of people talking about it and everything. But hey, in the gym, that happens, right? You get touched up in sparring in the gym. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I remember he allegedly touched up Floyd, sparring with Floyd in the gym. So it can happen, you know what I mean? As long as the song plays, everybody get a chance to dance, to the beat. So you'll get your turn if you be in there long enough. So it wasn't a live fight. Stuff that happens in the gym happens. I know people were saying, oh, whoever that was that leaked it, that person should be let go of the camp and booted out and this and that. Man, listen, we're in the social media stage now. Everything gonna leak and get out as long as it's caught on video some kind of way, because some people just don't have ethics and they don't care. They'll get it out there, you know. But what are your thoughts on that, and did you hear about it?
Yeah, I was hearing about it, but I didn't catch any of the shows because I ended up getting busy at work. But I was seeing the titles in them, but I ain't see the sparring video or nothing. But I was like, to me, it ain't no big deal as long as nobody got hurt or anything like that. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some in sparring, and also coming out of, you never know what's going on because it is training. What kind of workouts you did before that? Are you just going in and getting rounds after a long workout? And then also when you're dealing with sparring, you may spar 3 and 4 guys. Who knows, this is a fresh guy they put him in there with after sparring 2 or 3 other guys. And we'll say they getting 12 rounds and this guy's coming in the 8th round or the 9th round and he's fresh. So that could be the thing. So it's nothing major about it. There's more details in the stuff, and just getting small clips doesn't give you the full gist of it. You just got to see at one moment was a sparring. Some trainers going to put you in hard sparring. You want to get fresh guys in here to also ensure that your fighter's in tip-top shape. While he's going into a 12-round sparring, you want to make sure there's guys who are going to continuously push him, and you want to make sure it's a fresh guy in there. And that could have all that been. They just, let's say the next day, Earl's adjusted to this fighter. Now they put him back in there after he sparred 2 or 3 other fresh guys. This guy comes in there towards the fourth quarter of this stimulation of a fight. He's fresh. Earl makes the adjustment on him, and now Earl's eliminating whatever the guy looked good at in this video that everybody's talking about, and Earl begins to tag him, and he's not doing what people seen in the video, or if it's that much to it. But that's it. Like, in these sparrings, you got to deal with, is this a fresh guy? How many rounds they're putting in, and blah, blah, blah. So it's nothing to it. And as training camp goes along, a fighter who's getting geared up for a fight, his timing becomes better, his speed becomes better, his endurance becomes better, if in the lab applying everything. But that's my thoughts.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like you know, when you in the gym, you're working on things. You may be working on, you know, how to get out of the way of taking punishment and allow some things to happen, so you know how to respond to it. And you know, who knows what kind of drills could have been going on. But slip and slide, a slide and counter, I'm sorry, says Ray Leonard was knocked down in sparring preparing for Hagler. It happens. No, to correct you, slide and counter, Ray Leonard was knocked out in sparring by a young Quincy Taylor at the time, who was an upcoming middleweight, had not really even become a contender yet, but he was giving Ray some good work in there because he's a southpaw, and he knocked Ray out. But that happened to not be social media time. If it was social media time, maybe we would be watching that tonight on video. So, you know, it happens like you said. But just a correction, that was Ray Leonard actually got knocked out in sparring. And his people were worried to death about Hagler because Quincy Taylor was no Marvin Hagler, even in his early days. So it can happen to the best of us, man, when you're out there and you trying to put in that work. And he wasn't even trying to make a name for himself or whatever. He just caught Ray a good shot, and Ray was out. He was out. So, yes, sir. But, hey, man, it's been another great night, Reggie, of boxing conversation. I'm just, you know, sad that you weren't able to come in a little earlier so we could speak even more. But I think we gave a great go of it this evening with the subjects that we covered, and we talked about of mice and men in boxing. We're seeing it, man, and I hope that the sport can turn itself around and provide much greater entertainment than what we're receiving, because boxing is always going to have a rough go. But if these championship caliber fighters and titleists decide to really start putting something up, you know, boxing can really make it could turn a huge corner that they're finding themselves behind. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and give everybody your final thoughts and let them know where they can follow you as we wrap tonight's show up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I wish I'd have jumped. When I got in the house, I had some stuff to knock out, so that's the only reason why I end up jumping on later, man, because that hour went by quick.
It sure did.
My final thoughts are when you're speaking about with the mask and people crying about the mask. I just want to touch on that, man. These folks who are going about doing that is some of the people who lack proper hygiene. And even to me, and I got to disrespect a couple of states who are states that want to go against mandating this stuff. These are also states where you deal with people with funky hygiene who don't know how to wash behind their tail. people just go around spreading things. They've always been filthy. These are places that you find that. I don't want to deal with, being in the same room where funky people are breathing. So I don't mind wearing a mask. Ain't nothing to cry about. If that's what it is. I mean, there's something that's out here that's serious, that's dangerous. Let them figure this thing out. There's other stuff. And a lot of people, like I said, I can take this back when I was talking about these boxers and blaming their ignorance and stupidity on the school system. It's the same thing with the society. Blame the school system for passing a lot of these idiots. A lot of people in this country should have been held back. They should have been graduating high school at 30. A lot of people should not have been allowed to move forward within their education. There's a lot of people who should remain in elementary school at 18, because a lot of the development and just self-thinking in this country is dead. And people cry, moan about the dumbest stuff, and they act as if they act like they're on pacifiers because there's some talks about mandating masks and da. This is what they need to do to keep a country open. Then do it. It's nothing hard about it. All it is putting on something that straps around your ear and wearing it. It ain't harming you. It ain't doing none of that crap. It ain't changing anything, because it can go a little bit further and them actually closing everything the way that it was done before, because of fools not wanting to adhere to what's going on. There's scientists who do things, and then we got all these uneducated people trying to tell people who do research and study on this stuff of what's going on. Follow it. We live in a world where we exist and other biological germs exist along with us, and they're harmful to us. Sometimes you only get one shot, regardless of how healthy it is, and you don't want to see people expiring before they have to. It ain't just writing people off because they've reached a certain age and now it's hitting young folks. You just got to follow it. It ain't nothing hard. Even with the people with the vaccine stuff, there's a lot of other stuff that existed that it has taken vaccines to kind of almost rid us of, and some of this stuff has even come back. But this vaccine stuff ain't nothing new. It's always existed. It's just we ain't deal with it where we have a pandemic. A lot of these pandemics are avoided through vaccines. For those who don't fall into foolish conspiracy type thinking. The only thing I can say is that they rushed to kind of get this vaccine out, but it's also a repeat of what went on 100 years ago with the Spanish flu. And society wanted to get rushed back to it, that a second wave came through and started to destroy population once again. You just got to follow this, adhere to it, accept these protocols, especially these athletes who are giving opportunities of making millions upon millions of dollars. You ain't want to adhere to it, or else cost yourself and your families from making decent earnings. And that's just my thoughts on it. Ain't nothing hard to it. Ain't none of this population control that people in their ignorant mindsets think of. If somebody wants to control the population, they can go about doing it. They ain't got to be sneaky and none of that. They can off you if they wanted to. They can do all this other stuff, stir a lot, make you sterile and all this other stuff. So people like to live in that type of existence within their mind. But wearing a mask ain't nothing. Put the crap on. But that's my rant on that, my thoughts on that. Man, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Catch me on my channels, on both of them, Boxing Conversation Reggie Owens, the main one, and Boxing Conversation Reggie Owens #2. But that's all I got, man. Wish I'd have got on here earlier. I just messed one by quick.
Yeah. And, and as Red Fox used to open up his act, when he was doing stand-up, he said, I don't care how rich you are, what kind of car you drive, how much money you got, you still got to wash your behind. And I cleaned that up, But, it's been another great boxing talk here, the Chop Session, Friday night Chop Session. We called this one Of Mice and Men in Boxing. I hope that everybody who tuned in enjoyed the show. I see a lot of people still decided not to hit my like button. It says we're sitting on 48 thumbs up. We couldn't even get 50. You cheap people out there can't even give Stormybman 2 more likes to get him to 50. You should be ashamed of yourself. Look at you just back there listening and got your face turned up because you're looking at the screen on your phone or your tablet or on your laptop or on your TV, wherever you're looking at it, and you can't even give me 2 more thumbs up to make it an even 50. Well, you ain't got to give me thumbs up. I'll give my own thumbs up, and I'm going to give a thumb up out of here because we done for this show this evening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.